Good morning. Hi, everybody. Hope your August is going well. I just celebrated Pumpkin Weekend, an official season holiday in my family. Um, Welcome back. So this is our 23rd meeting of the California Climate and Energy Collaborative, and we are happy that you continue to come back. We are, as always, going to be featuring some great speakers today. So we have folks from the Public Health Institute with a program called RAMP that are going to give you an opportunity spotlight. And our featured discussion today is going to be with BayREN and BluePoint Planning on how they are bringing the Home Energy Score program to California. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. As we do, as always, feel free to turn on your webcam. And if you could introduce yourself over chat, we'd appreciate it. We do like getting to know you better as we do these every month. And so I'll start. I'm Angie Hacker. I'm the statewide best practices coordinator with the California Climate and Energy Collaborative, joined by a couple members of the team, John and Tila, who will also introduce themselves over chat. And so, as you know, if you've been coming to these for a while, we set aside this 1 hour of time every month to provide a space for local governments and those that work with them to dive in pretty deeply on some opportunities that can help you advance your energy and climate goals. So while you're out there trying to take action, we just want to brief you and give you some heads up on some things that might help you to get those initiatives rolling. So as we run through our opportunity roundtable, that's what we're going to do first. Like always, we have our spotlight with the RAMP program, feature discussion with Home Energy Score, a little time for the BPC workshop, and then we have our bonus breakout, an extended informal 15 minutes at the very end, which you're free to join us for if you can, and that will be at noon. So that is the plan for today. And we'll go to the next slide. As always, we're going to be compiling all the resources and things that we talk about. And so you don't have to worry too much about feverishly taking notes. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide because we're going to wrap up the resources. We'll be also putting the links to the resources in the chat as we go along. So that's a warning because this slide tends to be scary, but it's basically a glorified hyperlink cheat sheet to all the opportunities that we think you ought to know about. So as always, we kind of we're looking at policy at the same time we're looking at it going through the machinations of turning into programs. We're trying to catch it in the process so that you can see it coming and make sure that you're ready to go when solicitations hit the ground and assistance is available. And so I wanted to highlight the things that are highlighted. You can look at all the opportunities that are available right now on our website. And so we're actually going to talk about that at the end. We've updated our funding resources webpage, and we'll tell you all about it towards the end of this meeting. But I don't know what you all are noticing, but at least in the federal side and sometimes the state side, one thing I'm noticing is that these competitive grants are really competitive. There's sometimes fewer solicitations or fewer awards than we'd like to see, and big dollars. And a lot of those big grant opportunities are getting extended. But I say it because it's happening a lot, but don't count on it, right? It doesn't always happen. So you'll see a couple of things I've highlighted here. The first one, the EPA Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, the Solar for All program. That's one of those really competitive, really big dollar ones that actually got extended. I think folks are like, wow, this is complex. We need a little more time. So it's due in 2 days. This is really more of a good luck to those that are wrapping up loose ends on that one. We've talked about some of these others that are not highlighted, but there's some new ones that we haven't had a chance to discuss yet. One of those is from the California Energy Commission. It's a critical path. It's called Critical Paths, and it's around EV infrastructure. There's a solicitation for $20 million to support medium and heavy duty infrastructure along designated corridors for both electric and fuel cell electric vehicles. So designated corridors were provided through the efforts of the Clean Transportation Commission mandated by Senate Bill 671. So this is EV infrastructure opportunity. It's due November 17th. So there's funding there for local governments and municipalities. Another one, this one's a federal one right below, DOE. It's called Career Skills Training. That one is actually $10 million. $10 million at the federal level isn't huge. In competitive grants to award approximately 8 nonprofits to to get roughly $1 million each to provide a range of training and education services that lead to middle and high skilled jobs in the energy sector. So things like assessments, coaching and counseling, occupational skills, and trainings that lead to industry recognized credentials. This one reminds me a lot of our last Learn, where we talked a lot about contractor training. That was a different program. So this one's targeting specifically nonprofits with its own competitive solicitation and it's tied to an existing program called Career Skills Training. And I think you kind of have to be tied into that program. All right, next one I wanted to mention, if you see it's highlighted, we talked about it last time, the DOE Energy Futures Grant Phase 1. All I want to say there is that the deadline was extended. It should have already passed, but it's now out to November 30th, so more time for any of you working on it. And then to the CEC again. So California Energy Commission has a program called the Golden State Priority Project. Northern and Southern regions. So that CaliVIP, you guys all know about that one, or you've heard of it, CaliVIP 2.0. So the California Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Project, that's what the acronym stands for, offers incentives for the purchase and installation of electric vehicle charging infrastructure at publicly accessible sites throughout California. So they are awarding through this program up to $100,000 per active connector. Eligible entities do include local governments and nonprofits and others. Funding is only available for sites in disadvantaged communities or low-income census tracts. So that one, you can apply through December 12th. And that sounds far away, but you know what? It's really not. All right, a couple more I want to briefly mention to you. And again, you'll see these links start coming through on the chat. DOE, we've talked about this one before. This is round 2 of the Community Local Energy Action Program, so Communities LEAP. And it's an $18 million tranche for the second round, and it's fully technical assistance. So you're applying to get support for community-wide direct economic empowerment through clean energy. So it's looking to support 24 to 32 low-income, energy-burdened communities that are either disadvantaged or experiencing direct economic impacts from a shift away from fossil fuels. And so it's worth taking a look at if you're looking for some support for things like planning and development, energy-efficient building and electrification, clean transportation, carbon storage. Not direct funding, but TA. And this last one, we're going to talk about this one a lot because you have a long period here. The EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grants. This is a $4.6 billion, one of those IRA program, federal programs. So phase 2, some of you got phase 1 and you were eligible to be in one of these MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Areas, to get a planning grant. Phase 2 is implementation, and it turns out you don't have to be a phase 1 recipient. You don't have to be one of those eligible metropolitan statistical areas. You could just be pulling from your own, what they're calling a priority climate action plan. So it's basically to implement measures that are contained in what they consider an applicable priority climate action plan. So it's for implementation. It's the dollars we're all looking for. If you have a cap and it's hard to implement, these might be some really good dollars. And the competitive grants are going to be between $2 million and $500 million. So we're looking at, I don't know, potentially a big dollar amount. And so I'm going to try to get EPA here to talk about it at some point, but I just wanted to get that on your radar. And then finally, we'll talk about a little bit of input opportunities. There's quite a few here to talk about tomorrow. No, in 3 days, October 13th, Cal MTA Market Transformation Authority, I want to say, is having their advisory board meeting. They're going to discuss some of the emerging market transformation concepts that have come out of their RFI. So if you're doing market transformation, that might be something to attend. They'll accept your comments there. CARB, Senate Bill 1206 Assessment Report RFI. If you're following that, there's an RFI that's going to be due October 30th. Those of you that are local staff, we are going to be inviting you again to another state and local energy and climate coordination call. Thanks to those that came last month. Our next meeting will be in December 14th, and we'll feature a conversation around climate action planning with CARB. And then I wanted to put a couple of things on your radar that I'm watching. These are funding opportunities that the California Energy Commission is going to have access to, so local governments won't. But we know that they're probably going to go after a couple of things. So the CEC is going to get an $18 million formula allocation for a DOE program that's called Assistance for Latest in Zero Building Energy Code Adoption. So energy code stuff. We've been talking really collaboratively with the California Energy Commission, where we'll be interested in general in finding out how local governments and our partners can help inform that application and help. And the other one is CEC will have an opportunity to apply for the DOE renewable energy siting through technical engagement and planning. So if you all have been part of some of our conversations, we're talking a lot about renewable energy siting and some of the problems and barriers that we're facing. So this will be an interesting for us to engage with CEC on. And that's the fire hose. As always, if you know of other opportunities we missed, throw them in the chat and we will compile. All right, with that, well, I see some good chat conversation, so thank you for that. I'm excited to introduce our first speaker for a short opportunity spotlight. So Ann Kelsey Lamb is with us from the Public Health Institute. She is the director of the Regional Asthma Management and Prevention program. It's called RAMP. And I invited her here because they do some interesting in-home visit work. And I think there's a good relationship with some of the work you're all doing in energy efficiency. So Ann, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Angie. And good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Ann Kelsey Lamb, the director of RAMP, which stands for Regional Asthma Management and Prevention. Let's see if we could advance the slides, please. Great. And go ahead to the next one. So for those of you who are not familiar with RAMP, our mission is to reduce the burden of asthma with a focus on health equity. We don't provide direct services to people with asthma, but we support those who do. We build capacity through providing tools and technical assistance. We bring people together for learning, peer learning and network development. And then we mobilize our networks for policy and systems change. We're a project of the Public Health Institute. We are based in Oakland and we work statewide. Next slide, please. And then go ahead with the first click. I probably don't need to tell this audience that asthma is significantly impacted by housing conditions, including things like mold, pest infestations, nitrogen dioxide from gas stoves and other appliances, and the intrusion of outdoor air pollution, including wildfire smoke. Click, please. Thank you. I probably also don't need to tell you that climate change is worsening asthma and exacerbating asthma disparities. So the connection between home-based asthma services and the work that you all do is really important. Next slide, please. One of our goals has been to increase access to asthma home visiting services for low-income Californians with poorly controlled asthma. For those of you not familiar with this service, in an asthma home visiting program, an asthma educator, often a community health worker, will work with families in their homes to educate them about asthma management and about reducing exposure to environmental asthma triggers. Many of these programs are also able to provide supplies like air cleaners and services like moldy carpet removal to help reduce those triggers. Next slide, please. So we see a lot of opportunities for asthma home visiting programs and energy efficiency programs to work together to improve the health of residents and families. There are some great models for this type of collaboration already in existence. For example, in Contra Costa County, the Health Services Department coordinates a comprehensive program that includes asthma education, a thorough home assessment, asthma trigger remediation, and energy efficiency services. The program has community health workers who excel at really building trust and rapport with families and providing culturally and linguistically appropriate education. And it also involves building professionals who really bring the expertise on housing and housing solutions. Next slide, please. When that level of coordination is not possible, however, we also see a great value in establishing relationships for cross-referrals. So when you're at a home providing energy efficiency services and see mold on the walls, or learn that the children in the home have asthma, you can refer them to an asthma home visiting program. And when an asthma home visitor is in a home working with a family, they may notice things like obvious gaps in the windows or broken appliances and can refer the families to your programs. So what I'm here to offer is to help facilitate these connections. The number of asthma home visiting programs has grown in recent years as a result of some investments by the state Medi-Cal program. They're not yet in every county or city, but we're making progress. So we at RAMP have put together a directory, and we encourage you to check it out. You can sort by county and to explore those connections with programs. And if you don't see one there, you're welcome to contact me directly, and we can discuss whether there might be an asthma home visiting program under development or others that we can connect you with. Next slide, please. Lastly, I'll note that RAMP coordinates what's called the California Healthy Housing Coalition. It is a diverse, multi-sector coalition committed to advancing policies and practices that improve unhealthy housing conditions. And they also serve as a statewide advocate for healthy housing. New members are always welcome, and I encourage you to check it out. And then the last slide is just my contact information. So again, this is just an opportunity to enhance connections and leverage resources, and we hope to be in touch with some of you. Thank you for having me today.
All right. Thank you, Anne. Would you mind dropping your email address? Oh, there it is. It's already in the chat. Perfect.
Thank you.
So, if anybody wants to connect with Anne, I run programs that would really have benefited from packaging on more stuff when folks actually enter the home and getting more value out of those home visits. If you're sending an energy coach or an energy advisor or auditor in. So anyways, give her a call or an email if you think that there might be an opportunity to collaborate a little there. Also, feel free to put some questions in the chat for Anne. She's going to continue to stick around. Okay. Oh, some interest already. So let's go to our main, our key discussion for the day. I am really pleased to bring in a couple of speakers. We're actually going to start with Heather Larson, but she is the Senior Program Manager with Stop Waste. Stop Waste is Alameda County's BayREN representative, and she and Bianca Hunter with BluePoint Planning are here to give us a presentation around how BayREN is helping to bring a home energy score program to the statewide to California. And so they'll present and they want some input from you. So they want to get your feedback. So we're going to do a little polling throughout. And then if you have questions, there's going to be some opportunities through the Menti platform to ask some questions, or you can also throw them in the chat if you'd like. So with that, I'm going to hand it off first to Heather. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks, Angie. Hopefully you all can hear me well. I'm excited to be here. I think I've been thinking about this conversation since about 2015, when we started working in sort of a pilot phase with the city of Berkeley to develop some of their early residential energy conservation ordinance pilots, which they later launched. And we as Stop Waste, as Angie said, are the BayREN representatives for Alameda County. So for those of you who don't know, Stop Waste is the Alameda County Waste Management Authority, and we're a joint powers authority of the 14 cities in the unincorporated county. And we both implement programs, waste reduction programs, with a fee that's assessed to tonnage sent to landfill in Alameda County. And we also administer external energy funding. So, and that includes our BayREN funding. Stop Waste is one of the 9 counties that work together to implement BayREN programs under the umbrella of ABRAG MTC. And we're the lead agency for the green labeling program, as well as the multifamily program within the BayREN infrastructure. There's folks, I think, from BayREN, ABAG MTC on the line, and Emily Alvarez, who's my coworker, is actually the lead on this program. So Stop Waste both coordinates with the 9 counties, as well as manages the contracts with consultants for the implementation of the green labeling program. And the program so far has scored about 22,350 projects since it was launched. That's about 10% of DOE's total scores nationally. So DOE has just a little over 220,000 scores right now. So we represent about 10% of their total scores. DOE has about 404 assessors working nationally under this program, and BayREN represents 52 of those, so about 7% of their total assessors. And we are one of their partners. So as I mentioned back when we were supporting City of Berkeley to launch their residential disclosure ordinance, one of our initial lessons learned was that the home energy score program was a bit of a lighter lift solution than the California HERS program under the Energy Commission in terms of sort of the cost to implement it, the complexity of it, and the appropriateness for existing buildings. And so we had formed a partnership with DOE to start bringing the home energy score to California. And then we're able to launch a regional voluntary program with BayREN in partnership with as one of DOE's partners. So that program has been running throughout the Bay Area for quite a while now. Angie's going to go over, or I'm sorry, Bianca's going to go over the timeline. However, just in the last business plan for BayREN, the CPUC did approve us to become a program administrator to scale the program statewide. So the intent for today, and some of you all may have seen some of our other listening session, is to get feedback about the intent or the interest in this program. We want to learn a little bit more about what landscape is out there that this may layer onto. The idea is that the scores would be available throughout the state, but some jurisdictions may have, activities that this could dovetail with really nicely. So we'd love to learn more about that. And we also want to learn a little bit more about what role local governments may want to play in the program. So like right now, for example, in the BayREN service territory, the 9 counties play an outreach role for the program, and they are part of the coordinating circle, which provides input to program design. Some jurisdictions may have more technical capacity and may want to, say, layer this with other activities in their jurisdictions. And again, I'd just like to emphasize that this is a voluntary program. We have, there's some related activity on mandatory policies that this can support. We did do a separate project, I believe City of Carlsbad may be on the line, with PG&E looking to support policies that reference the home energy score. But the BayREN statewide program for now is a voluntary program, but it may support policy adoption at the local level. So with that, thank you all for being here today. And BluePoint Planning is a consultant who's on board helping us with some of these outreach and listening sessions to gather input in the towards the design of the statewide program. So I'll hand it over to Bianca.
Great, thanks Heather for that context, and I'll be maybe rehashing a little bit and expanding upon what Heather just mentioned. Also seems like my screen's good to go. Is that accurate? Okay, perfect. And as Heather mentioned, so we want this to be, as interactive as possible. So I don't know if some folks have used the platform Mentimeter. It's a way to sort of interact with slides, and I'll be going over that a bit later in my presentation, but first I'll present slides and an overview of the program, and then we can jump into hearing what you all have to say. So, as Heather mentioned, I'm an associate at BluePoint Planning, and we're a small consulting firm. We do a lot of climate action and adaptation planning and work with a lot of RENs as well, and are helping BayREN take this program statewide. So we just did some introductions. So I'll be going over some more context and provide an overview of the program. Then we'll go ahead and use Mentimeter to try to have a little discussion, hear from you about some questions we have for you all, and then we'll quickly review next steps and timeline. So going into the overview here. So home energy score. So it is a rating system that was developed by the U.S. Department of Energy and its national laboratories. And it provides homeowners, buyers, and renters with credible information about a home's energy use. And just a little nuance here. This is focused not on so much on energy bill and energy savings, but rather it looks individually at each element within a home, things like insulation and window sealing, and rates how well that element is performing. So we're not looking overall at how a customer, rating high energy use versus low energy use, but we're really looking individually at those components and how well are they functioning within a home. So some of the main elements of the program here. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's a standardized ratings of a home's energy efficiency, and that rating is done by a certified assessor. So the Home Energy Score California program will work with trades organizations and will train energy assessors that are going to be serving your community and making sure that there's strong quality control and that scores are consistent across your community. And from there, Home Energy Score California provides customized recommendations for the customer for home improvements that will, based on their score, and the home improvements that would, lead to a better score and a more efficient home. And it also provides a rebate for residents to receive a home energy score, with most customers opting to kind of get that rebate right at the get-go, reducing or eliminating cost of that assessment in the first place to make those energy efficiency upgrades. And it connects them to resources in their community, resources like any existing incentives or rebates for those energy upgrades that they can then make later on. So a little bit about program background here that Heather alluded to. So in 2015, Berkeley launched its building emissions saving ordinance, which required energy disclosure essentially for, I believe, point of sale for homes in the city. And then this program from Berkeley BayREN worked to expand it to the 9 Bay Area counties. So it was launched as a separate home energy score program in 2018 there. And then this year in 2023, the CPUC approved the home energy score program to become a statewide program. And so we are currently now, as Heather mentioned, trying to hear from folks how we can take it, from those 9 Bay Area counties, how we can expand it and make it work best for jurisdictions across the whole state. And then the slated rollout for this is 2026. So some key program elements here. So the Home Energy Score program is designed for single family homes, and that includes duplexes as well. It's run, as I mentioned, through Home Energy Score California partners. So a lot of trades organizations who are working with assessors to complete the assessment. And he's California trains the assessors. And then, as I mentioned, residents who complete the home energy score receive a rebate for doing so, and then get connected to resources within their local jurisdictions available in their communities to make the energy efficiency upgrades. So there's a few reasons why going to a statewide program is advantageous. So again, as Heather provided some good context as to the Department of Energy's scores nationwide. So we're kind of building out this suite of standardized scores, really get a sense of how homes are performing and what our energy use looks like. So adding that to sort of the existing scores. It also designates funds for rebates, and there is a single administrator, which makes sort of program implementation a lot more streamlined and easier, and also encourages, it makes it easy for local jurisdictions to participate because they don't have to deal with the administration side of things. And it also provides consistent training to assessors across the state. And there's benefits for local governments for all of y'all on the line here. So it's a way to help your community members save money by reducing their energy use. It helps to align with and meet a lot of your climate action plan goals. I know, especially related to decarbonizing the building sector. One key point is that it's a turnkey program, and I'll be touching on this a little bit later in a couple slides, but this means that it's pretty much ready to go for jurisdiction. So the Home Energy Score program will be doing a lot of the program promotion and that sort of thing, and it's easy for jurisdictions to get involved. And if a mandatory rating policy is something that your jurisdiction is interested in, this can also be a stepping stone to getting there. But again, as Heather mentioned, this is a this is a voluntary policy. So when might a customer get a home energy score? So, there's a variety of times that might happen. It could be before renovations, understanding what key renovations a homeowner might want to make, making their home more comfortable. If a customer is interested in saving money on and reducing their energy bills. And then also if they're getting ready to sell a home, or after recently purchasing a home and wanting to understand the energy profile of that home. So in terms of who does the work and who completes the assessment, so this is a way to grow your local workforce. So in addition to, bringing up new folks into the workforce, it's also a way to leverage existing experts who are doing work already within your community. So there may be assessors who are already doing energy audits or home inspections or Title 24 compliance. And so getting this certification in order to do the home energy score assessment is another tool that they can add and another service that they can offer as well. So it helps increase training in your local community and increase the services offered by assessors in your community. So this is an example for BayREN for what their custom report looks like. So here we have a home energy score. So first, it's just, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well is your home, how efficient is your home? So customers will get to look at that. They also then get estimates of the energy that their home uses and the greenhouse gas emissions associated with that energy use. They will then, in the BayREN's case, we have the energy advisor. That's our service that sort of refers folks to different programs in the region and connects them with other resources. And so, this set of recommendations will also do that with the service that is available in your region. And it will also give you a set of custom recommendations that align with local rebates. So the highest energy improvements that you could do to have the greatest impact in terms of reducing energy use in your home. And it provides rebates and incentives, any resources that are going on within your community. It connects you with those as well. And this is just a quick map here of various voluntary and mandatory policies nationwide, just to give you a sense that, as Heather mentioned, of the kind of work that's going on around the country, as well as, adding this to sort of the mix at the state level too. So there are opportunities for local jurisdictions to get involved, and there's really jurisdictions can really choose a level of involvement that you'd all want to have in customizing the program and promoting it. So as I mentioned before, Home Energy Score California, so it's a turnkey program. So we are providing marketing materials and doing program promotion at a baseline level. So, things like social media ads. So customers just across the state will be aware of this service. However, there's opportunities to sort of further that, further work with you all, with jurisdictions across the state to tailor program. So, one of the things is co-branding. So if there is, if your jurisdiction has a program a program that is available that overlaps or it aligns with this, there's opportunity to do cross branding for that. There's also opportunity to, for example, if a jurisdiction does not allow any sort of, gas for new construction, if there's an all electric, new construction ordinance, perhaps there's ways that we can tailor recommendations to make sure they're aligning with your goals. And Heather, also feel free to jump in if there's any other, examples of how we might partner. But I think, the cross promotion and the sort of tailoring this and aligning it with policies and programs in your jurisdiction is, are some ways that we're thinking that we might be able to work with you all, and also exploring other ideas, which is also in part what this call is for as well. So I'm now going to switch over to the discussion portion, which is where I'd love to hear from you all. And so as
Bianca,
oh,
did
yes.
you want to take a couple of quick questions?
Sure, yeah, if there's questions in the chat, we can do that now. That works.
One, I know, Deborah, you were asking for the CPUC rulemaking or the proceeding, and Heather's looking for it.
I just found it. I'm going to paste it now. I had a hard copy, but here's the link.
Great. Thanks, Heather. And she's asking if BayREN will be the sole administrator in California?
Yeah,
Right.
so we are the program administrator. However, statewide programs are required to be bid out to third parties now. So we will be overseeing the contract with a statewide consultant. But, there will be different roles to be played. So there may be multiple consultants that would play different roles, whether that was outreach or QA, QC. Right now, Earth Advantage is the administrator, the consultant team that actually implements the program for us. And so they provide all the score processing, they actually do most of the outreach. They train the assessors, they certify the assessors, and they provide the QC. They're really experienced with working with DOE and both in California as well as other states. So, there may be different implementation roles to be played. Again, as I mentioned, the counties in the BayREN area actually do some of the outreach directly. But so right now it's BayREN's the first non-IOU program administrator, but we would be hiring contracts for the actual delivery of the work.
Hey, there's a few more, but tell me if you're going to cover these in the next part of your discussion, and we'll do it there. But Garrett from County of Santa Barbara is asking, who is able to see the home energy score? Is it integrated with home listing platforms?
Yeah, so right now, individual jurisdictions have a platform that they can share for different, uses of the tool. We have been trying to work with the different MLSs to share the information. It's a bit of a fragmented landscape, so we're not on the MLSs across the board, but that's an intent, is to, get more participation in that space. So there's a couple of cities who work with their MLSs pretty closely who have been able to list the scores there.
Great. And Leslie with Drawdown Bay Area is saying, how is data being collected and which organization, entity, or agency is standing up this one-stop shop?
Yeah, so overall, BayREN's the program administrator, and then we will have consultants that will be implementing the program.
And they'll collect the data. Okay.
Yeah. So right now, Earth Advantage is our current implementation partner who collects the data.
Great. And sorry, one more. Lucia from the city of Slow, or Lucia. If cities want to be able to offer our residents a home energy score before 2026, are there any options? And do our local RENs have a role to play in coordinating with BayREN on expanding this to their respective territories?
Yeah, well, that's part of what we would like to hear from you all, is like, what's going on locally where we may be able to plug in and have the local RENs or other local jurisdictions be able to, to play a role. So we'd love to hear more about what you would like to see that look like. So yes, the answer is yes, they would have a role, but we, are still trying to kind of gather the interest and feedback from everyone today of, what's going on locally that we may be able to kind of nicely integrate this with.
Perfect. Okay, I see more questions coming. I want to hold back because I know there's more discussion coming, and then we'll try to take a couple more questions at the end. I just want to make sure they have time to get the feedback they need. So let's take it back to you, Bianca.
Sure. I think we'll have some more times for questions and initial reactions in just a couple slides. But Firstly, just I wanted to give an overview of the Mentimeter platform. So the way that this works is you can use your phone, your smartphone, or open up another tab to type in menti.com and enter the code. And essentially, as I advance the slides, you'll be able to participate and type in any open answer questions, vote in a couple polls we have, that sort of thing. So please take a minute to either look at via the QR code on your phone or open a separate tab, because we'd love to hear your feedback in the next couple of slides. So I'll just leave this here for another few seconds. Okay, and the code should still be, well, okay, hopefully folks have had a chance to look at the platform and are on there. First, I think we can still, take a couple more questions here and hear any general reactions you have about this program. Does it seem like it's something your jurisdiction would be excited about? Do you see any initial issues with it? That sort of thing. So if folks could take a minute, they should be, yes, exactly, popping up here as you input it. So yeah, I think it'll be important to work with the real estate community as we roll this out. Yeah, that's definitely something. I think we've had a few of these listening sessions as well already, and that is definitely a theme that has come up. And I know, and Heather just touched on the MLS system here. Great. So wanting to support decarbonization and electrification efforts. Great, good, wanting to hear that, or glad to hear that will have a statewide outreach. Interested, seeing issues with the real estate industry. Again, I think that's a point we really want to consider there. Wanting to ensure it's available in multiple languages. I think that's something that that we have, heard as well. One thing that came up, or actually just a bit of context, is that so the assessors who go in, I think there are some, just in terms of the folks doing the assessment, I know there's some Spanish speaking assessors, but then in terms of thinking about the actual report that a customer gets, I believe that so far it's just been in English. So thinking about how can we make that more accessible. Great. So excitement. So can it also be computed for multifamily or commercial buildings? I don't know if Heather, you wanted to sort of touch on that, because I know, right now it's the single family program, and of course this is, it's in with the mix of other, more equity focused programs as well. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that specific. Specific
this
question.
Program is, again, one tool in the toolbox of across market sectors, including just within the single family sector. This program is specifically on single family homes for now. There's within BayREN, for example, we have a whole separate multifamily program that uses different tools and different incentives and whatnot. So the green labeling program, single family focused. The home energy score tool itself, in communicating with the DOE, they are trying to expand it to multifamily. So in future years, we may look at integrating like a multifamily path through this, but right now it's not quite ready for that. And then DOE is also working on a number of other things with the tool to get it to be eligible for the 25C tax credits. So I think that's one of the most immediate opportunities, is if it gets a home energy score is applied through DOE to its own sort of system to be eligible to qualify for the tax credit. So that's something that is coming down the pike. But yes, as of right now, it's pretty single family focused.
Great. And then, so it sounds like there's a couple questions as well around coordination with CCAs. And I know in the listening sessions, we have had a couple CCAs on the line, and it seemed like there were interest there, but continuing to consider them as a partner as we roll this out. Yeah, maybe low hanging fruit. Yeah, thinking again about multifamily, multi-pronged approach to addressing climate change, but there may be more low-hanging fruit. Yeah, I think, how could we work with, there's different things going on at different levels, and so, what power do we have within our agencies to make the change here? Heather, do you want to speak a little bit around the experience or impact around in the Bay Area so far about participation rates?
Sure. I think Garrett asked that in the chat. And for anybody who's interested in more detailed analysis on this, we have some breakdown of sort of the scores by county, by assessor, over time, the different years, how they've developed. And then we're just now getting the impact evaluation analysis. We have grounded research on board, looking at sort of the trajectory of what scores, because it's really an assessment, right? What scores converted to retrofits versus scores changing over time. So if a home is scored once and then a retrofit's done, and what the test out score is. So we're getting more data about that. But in general, so we could, anybody who wants a little more deeper dive on that, we can pull those numbers up. We report those to our counties on a monthly basis. But total so far, we've delivered 22,349 scores, and there's 52 active assessors across 27 assessor companies, right? Because some of them are under a company. And yeah,
Yeah, and I think also, I know maybe the analysis for in terms of, pre and post, or that first round of assessment versus the second round. I know, is that still being done by Grounded?
Yeah. So they're looking at some of the analysis. We were actually able to get data from PG&E, both in terms of BayREN's single family home upgrade program, as well as their other single family incentive programs, and map those projects that received scores to see which ones went on to participate in a variety of incentive programs. And so we're looking at sort of the conversion rate. We know anecdotally that just within BayREN, we've got about a 15% conversion rate from scores to utility incentive program participation. But that's a little bit skewed because BayREN's single family program was at capacity. So we had to stop taking referrals from home energy score. So it's not a complete picture of, projects that went on to undertake work. So that's some analysis that's underway right now, is getting better data on, after entities get these scores, what did they go on to do, or who are the demographics of these people who are getting the scores. And I'll just say also, this program was authorized. It's called a market support program at this point. For those of you who are in the PUC world, they just segmented their portfolio into equity, resource, and market support programs. So this is considered a market support program. Oh, and it's in workforce education and training. So this is a market support program, segment program. I don't know if we're going to address all of these here. I'd love to get into all of them, but bill impacts are, so how the score is generated is it basically takes the asset itself and then makes an estimate about, with weather data, what the energy usage would be, and compares it to a national average, and then gives you like a really boiled down score. It's not taking the bills and calibrating it. And so it's really trying to compare an asset, and it gives you sort of a score that's comparable to other homes nationally. There are some advantages and disadvantages to that approach, right? There's other tools out there that are actually looking at the actual bills and disaggregating them, or looking more specifically at a more California specific approach. So that's some work that we've looked at with DOE and the PG&E codes and standards team to get a better sense of, how this tool lines up to some of the other tools that are in the market. So it's, it's one approach. There's some advantages of some of the others out there, but we saw value in sort of the ease for the consumer to understand the score, for it to compare to to a national score, and for it to be something that is low cost to implement and develop the score. So the target assessor, we have home HERS raters who can do this, contractors who can do this, but our initial concept was to have home inspectors do it. So if a home inspector is in a building, particularly for real estate transactions, then they can generate this score pretty easily within a couple of hours. So that's part of the intent, is it's a lower cost process to develop a score.
Great. And I'm
Guys,
gonna
just want to chime in. You've got a couple minutes left if you have
Yes.
more polls.
Yes, we do. I will move us right along here. So this is, I think we can go through these a little more quickly, but we'd love to hear also any related programs and activities your jurisdiction has going on. I think, we're interested in understanding that sort of whole ecosystem in how might this dovetail with ongoing efforts in your jurisdictions. And I'll go just back a couple slides in case people need to go back and look at the QR code here. And then I'll move us back here. And I'll just give folks a second. Yeah, so this can include things like any sort of climate, we've heard from folks, climate action adaptation planning, rebate programs, working with local real estate groups that might already be happening here. Yeah, reach codes and natural gas bans. Great. Climate transformation, interesting. Haven't heard of Climate Transformation Alliance. Cool, yeah, and I think we're all, of course, interested in getting this out to as many folks who are interested as possible. So I think we'll have some contact information at the end, and definitely feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in learning more, or potentially giving sort of another presentation to other groups, that sort of thing. Definitely let us know. Existing building decarbonization efforts. He's does not specifically, assess electrification, but I think a lot of the recommendations that are provided are geared towards electrification, simply because they're more efficient too. Realtor listening sessions. Cool. Yeah, that electrification communications campaign. Yeah, these would all be great things to fold into there. Oh yeah, I know the walkability score. So thinking further about that sort of listing, how do we get that the information shared so it's readily available for folks who want to see? Climate collaboratives. Making sure that the score is promoting electrification. Great. I know we have.
Bianca, it sounds like there's just a tremendous amount of interest in all of this. And I think one person said, who's the main contact? So I think a great way to go from here, so we're going to have to wrap up, is to provide the contact information for where they can get more information.
Sure. Do we have like one more minute for just a multiple choice poll, or should we wrap up right now?
Let's do it. We'll have to do it pretty quick.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Angie. So this is just a quick poll of understanding, if your jurisdiction is interested in playing a role in here, what would that look like? I think we're just trying to understand how this may, again, dovetail with the efforts and how we can continue talking with jurisdictions about this. So outreach role, like speaking to, whether that's trades organizations, real estate providers, assessors in your community, voluntary or mandatory policy. Okay, a lot of interest for that. Great interest in doing some trainings too, some in technical support as well. great. Seems definitely like the outreach and then the voluntary and mandatory policy are some clear ways that folks want to get involved. So that's really good to know, just to get to kind of get a pulse on where folks are at and how we can continue to do outreach to all of you around this program and as it rolls out as well. Okay, great. I'll move us along. Great. Yeah, just really briefly, you know, we're doing these listening sessions, and thanks all for your feedback here. Looking to make recommendations for the program this fall as to, you know, incorporating the feedback that we heard. And then here's the contact information. So I think Emily Alvarez, she's the program lead. If you have any specific program questions or want to reach out, you know, if you're interested in, you know, getting your organization or agency more involved in this effort, you can reach out to her. Feel free to CC in me or Heather as well. I think, Heather, is that right, that Emily's probably the main one that they should reach out to on this?
Yeah, Emily's the program lead, and we'll be, if anybody's particularly interested to follow up about this, we would love to have further conversations with you about it. And you know, we can have some more detailed you know, engagement around it. So feel free to reach out to either Bianca and let her know you'd like more, or to Emily Alvarez.
Great. And yeah, thank you everyone so much, and thanks for following along with Mentimeter, and thanks Angie for letting us do that last quick poll.
No, that was good feedback. And I just want to say really cool and congratulations, because this is the dream, right? That a local program gets to scale up, shows them success, scale up, and now we get a local program made for and built by locals. So great work. It's exciting. Let's move on. And so actually these guys, I don't know, can you hang around? Because we're going to have our bonus breakout if we want to continue the discussion for that extra 15 minutes. Why don't you hang around? So John, I think we're going to have you come up now just for a few updates from the SEEK team before we wrap up. Probably just getting his screen back loaded.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, folks. Real quickly, we're going to run through just a couple of new updates to some SEEK resources. I'm really excited to run a bit of a showcase on some of the stuff that we're doing in terms of our local government and state agency engagement and advocacy. But super quickly, I'm going to kick it over to my colleague Kelsey to run through an update to our funding resources and library.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to share a little bit. We did some updates to our funding resources library this last month. I just wanted to walk through with you all what we've done and how it can be useful for you. Mostly this is, not mostly, but a lot of this is stuff that you hear during Learn. But in case if you don't, you know, want to look back through the PowerPoints, we have all of the information here. And we'll put the link in the chat as well. But basically, it's a searchable and filterable database full of active, upcoming, and past opportunities that are relevant to, you know, our audience in, you know, climate and energy. You can see it starts out here at things that are really close to being due. This one's due in 2 days. And as we go down, it gets later due.
I'll have to call you back.
But here on the right-hand side, you can filter by different things. One of the main ways you might filter is by who you are. So eligible entities. So say I'm a local government. There's 60 opportunities for local governments, and it'll automatically update for you. And then I want to find an opportunity on energy efficiency. And so there's 15 opportunities for me that would make sense. You can also do it by application status, either available in the future, ongoing opportunities, as well as past opportunities. And then you can also look for a deadline if you want something that's a little bit more in the future. You can also search just generally, but I think the most effective one is filtering by category and by eligible entities. Now, I would ask for questions, but we're out of time, and I'm going to pass it back over to John for the for the next thing. You're welcome to reach out to me via email if you have any questions.
Thanks so much, Kels. No worries. I can go quick. One moment. Just want to highlight a couple new sections on our website. So over the past year or so, well beyond the past year really, but in the last 1 or 2 years, SEEK has really been focused on digging into our work that we're doing, advocating for and engaging directly with state agencies and local governments. So we have this new section built out on our website here, which I hope can highlight some helpful context and information, as well as a few resources for all of you. So in this category, there's going to be the Learn page, which all of you are hopefully familiar with. And then there's also going to be this new informational page for our newly launched state and local energy and climate coordination meetings. It has an overview of what these meetings are, as well as some past meeting information, as well as a contact if you are a representative of a state agency or local government and would like to be more directly involved in these meetings. Again, these are quarterly. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I can provide some additional information. And then finally, there is one more section on comment letters and input opportunities. We're hoping to kind of more comprehensively track open RFIs and input opportunities from state agencies and make those more easily accessible to all of you. There's a few at the moment. We're going to be continuing to build this out. There are a few open RFIs that we'll be tracking on this page. And then if there's any additional input opportunities that all of you would like us to flag and be aware of and get out to our broader network, there's an email here that you can share those with. Last thing, at the bottom of this page, we're going to be logging all of our previous comment letters. These are comment letters that we submit through SEEK on behalf of our network, often informed directly by input that we receive from our broader network. Just some additional, hopefully helpful context and information on the type of advocacy that we have been doing in recent years. And again, we'll be continuing to build all of these out on an iterative basis as we get some additional information and guidance from all of you. So just wanted to flag those as a few additional resources. We'll be sure to flag them as a part of follow-up as well. Thanks so much. Kick it back to you, Ange.
Thanks, Kelsey and John. We have a great team working on all sorts of things here behind the scenes. So we're out of time. I'm going to let everybody go ahead and go. That's our meeting for today. We'll be back November 14th. We welcome